The first trailer for Blumhouse's Halloween sequel brings us back to Haddonfield 40 years after Michael Myers' iconic killing spree. Crucially, according to this new trailer, those were the last murders committed by Michael Myers. Yes, the new movie disregards every other Halloween movie aside from the original. The trailer opens with two British investigators visiting Michael in a psychiatric prison. The British accents might be incidental, or is it possible there's some connection or relation with Dr. Sam Loomis, Michael's psychiatrist, who was so memorably played by British actor Donald Pleasence? It's odd they use the word investigate and not study in relation to Michael's case. What's there left to investigate 40 years later? Possibly there's a plot point here, or maybe they're just making a new documentary about this notorious killer. The VO quickly recounts the events of the original movie through case files. The diagram of this victim appears to depict the murder of Annie Brackett in the original movie. There's a brief glimpse of a child facing a wall. This may be Michael, who was first committed as a child after murdering his sister in 1963. Interestingly, the male voice states that Michael was taken into custody on Halloween night in 1978. We never see this in the original movie, which ends with the mysterious vanishing of Michael after being shot by Dr. Loomis, who we see in a courtroom sketch. The original ending implied that Michael really was the boogeyman, and possibly supernatural in nature, which later sequels reinforced. It'll be interesting to see if we find out any more about this, and whether the new movie reduces Michael to a more natural threat than that ending implied. We see Michael isolated in the courtyard, and he appears to be tethered to a weight or some kind of fixture impeding his movement. Unsurprisingly, the events of the movie appear to unfold on the day of Halloween. And while the trailer doesn't make it explicit, we know the movie does take place in Haddonfield, Illinois, the setting of the original. In this daytime sequence, Laurie Strode's granddaughter Allison walks alongside her two friends, Dave and Vicky. It's strongly reminiscent of a scene in the original movie, which sees Laurie walking with Linda and Annie. Next, we see Laurie's house, which appears to be rigged with security cameras and floodlights. In the sequence that follows, we learn that Laurie has spent the last 40 years preparing for Michael's inevitable return, building secret rooms, amassing weapons, and working on her aim. During this sequence, we even glimpse the scar Michael gave her towards the climax of the original movie. During this montage, we hear Dave say something about Michael being Laurie's brother. Allison corrects him, saying that was something people made up. Indeed, they did. The revelation that Laurie was Michael's sister was a plot point introduced in Halloween 2. Michael escapes as his prison bus crashes. The wandering patients strongly echo a similar sequence in the original, when Dr. Loomis realizes Michael has broken free. It appears that following his escape, Michael tracks down the investigators. And well, you can probably figure out what's going to happen next. Just as in the original movie, Michael has killed a mechanic and stolen his overalls to wear. It was a strong look in 1978, and he believes it's a strong look now. An impatient Michael drops a handful of teeth into the cubicle. They may belong to the murdered mechanic, but given the next shot, it's more likely they're Martin's. Blink and you'll miss it, but if you pause it just right, you'll see that Michael is smashing the face of the male investigator into the cubicle door. The scare at the 2-minute mark is similar in construction to one that takes place in the original movie. Michael's feet and face are out of shot, and when the children bump into him, the audio sting makes this moment almost identical to the scare outside of the school. The figure dressed as a stereotypical ghost here is a callback to the disguise Michael dons to kill Linda in the first movie. It appears that maybe prior to visiting Michael, Martin the investigator interviews Laurie for his research. You can see the fortifications on the window behind him, placing this in Laurie's home. Even after all these years, she firmly believes him still to be the boogeyman. The final scare of the trailer sees Vicky's character babysitting on Halloween night, implying this movie might parallel the first movie quite closely in structure. In the original, Laurie and her friends were both babysitting in houses directly opposite one another. Although Vicky appears to be a rather attentive babysitter in this scene, unlike Linda in the original, it looks likely she won't escape Michael's rage. And if we know anything about Michael beyond his blank, pale, emotionless face and black eyes, it's that he loves a good closet scare. That's everything we managed to spot in the first trailer for Halloween, which will be out on October 19th. Be sure to watch the trailer for yourself, and if you're looking for a great horror movie to watch in the meantime, check out our review of Hereditary. And as always, be sure to follow and subscribe everywhere you like to watch IGN.